Welcome to the English news of Bình Phuoc Television. I'm with you. Now following are the headlines for today. More than 258,000 students start new academic year in Binh Phuoc. Dengue fever cases down nearly 1,200. Prime Minister meets with Indonesian President. Energy sector plans to cut greenhouse gas emissions by 17 to 26%. More than 258,000 students at all levels around Binh Phuoc province start the 2023-2024 academic year on the 5th of September.
Binh Phuoc has 436 schools in the 2023-2024 academic year, from kindergartens to high schools, with around 8,090 classes. The provincial education sector will place focus this year on 9 tasks, including continuing education and training management innovation, effectively implementing preschool, general education, and continuing education programs, improving and standardizing the quality of teachers and educational administrators at all levels, and attracting and effectively using investment resources for education. It targets about 198 schools meeting national standards by the end of the school year. All schools in the province are to build plans during this school year to develop facilities and comply with regulations on teaching physical education subjects, while 86% of schools are to have extracurricular physical education activities.
Binh Phuoc province is working to ensure that on commutes, wards and towns have a core team of farmers with the knowledge and skills to effectively apply integrated plant health management or IPHM, which will form part of the province's goal of promoting its application on key crops in the 2023-2030 period.
The IPHM program builds on the legacy of the previous Integrated Pest Management or IPM program. The main difference between the two programs lies in the approach. While IPM looks to control pests and use IPM as the basis to protect crops, IPHM mainly focuses on pest prevention and creating resistance. IPHM's goal is to ensure plant health, improve the value of crops, protect the ecological environment, and increase biodiversity. It also aims to build an agriculture ecosystem, contributing to successfully implementing the main goals of the agriculture and rural development sector for the 2023-2030 period. For the program to be implemented effectively, one important solution is to focus on communications work so that by 2030, 90% of farmers will have mastered the principles of IPHM being applied in production, while each commune is to have at least one community IPHM guide and 5 core IPHM farmers.
The ongoing wet weather is creating a high-level outbreak regarding a dengue fever outbreak. Thanks to the proactiveness of the health sector and localities in disease prevention, however, the number of cases in Binh Phuoc province continues to head downwards.
Figures from the Central for Disease Control or CDC of Binh Phuoc province show that 2,622 cases of dengue fever have been reported in the province since the beginning of the year, down nearly 1,200 cases compared to the same period last year, with 2 fatalities. Though the number of infections have fallen sharply, the provincial CDC has recommended that local people remain alert as this is the peak of the wet season and the risk of infection is high. From week 30 to now, the number of cases has increased slightly in all localities in the province, especially in Chương town and Phú Riềng and Bù Gia Mập districts. The health sector's efforts alone are not enough to control the dengue fever epidemic in the province. However, as it requires responsible participation from all levels and sectors, associations, unions, and people. Effective measures in preventing dengue fever include killing mosquitoes and larvae, and for people to protect themselves against mosquito bites.
Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính had the meeting with Indonesian President Joko Widodo in Jakarta on September 4 as part of the Prime Minister trip to the country to attend the 43rd ASEAN Summit.
During the meeting, the two leaders affirmed that the two sides will increase exchanges at all levels, promote bilateral cooperation mechanisms, and actively implement signed agreements in the coming time. Prime Minister Chin proposed that Indonesia create favorable conditions for Vietnamese goods, especially agricultural products and whole products of Vietnamese origin, to enter the country. He also asked the Indonesian side to recognize Vietnam's efforts in fighting illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing. President Widodo said, Indonesia welcomes Vietnamese businesses, including VinFast, to invest in the country and promote cooperation in renewable energy. The host leader suggested that the two countries strengthen maritime cooperation, sustainable fishing cooperation, and soon sign a memorandum of understanding on fisheries cooperation. Regarding regional and international issues, the two leaders reaffirmed their support for maintaining ASEAN's solidarity and agreed principles on the East Sea issue. They also expressed their wish that ASEAN and China will soon sign the Code of Conduct in the East Sea, COC. On the same day, Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh attended and delivered a speech at the ASEAN Business and Investment Summit 2023, which also took place in the Indonesian capital of Jakarta. ASEAN is fully capable of affirming its position as a polar in a multipolar world, as well as its centrality in the regional cooperation and architecture, Prime Minister Chin told the event. To help ASEAN carry forward its role and position, and utilize opportunities, the Vietnamese leader suggested the bloc strengthen its intra-bloc solidarity, and maintain its principles, and common stances and views, as well as strategic balances in relations with partners. ASEAN also needs to maintain long-term commitments to market opening and trade and investment promotion, Chin said, adding that social equality and progress and environmental protection should not be traded for economic growth. To further uphold the role of businesses in spurring growth and creating new breakthroughs for ASEAN, he held that governments and enterprises need to cooperate more closely, effectively and practically.
Vietnam's energy sector plans to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 17 to 26% by 2030 and around 90% by 2050 compared to the normal development scenario.
The targets have been set in freshly approved National Energy Master Plan for the 2021-2030 period with a vision to 2050. The overall of the plan is to firmly ensure national energy security and defense security, meet the requirements of socio-economic development, industrialization and modernization of the country, improve people's lives, and protect the ecological environment. It also aims to successfully implement energy transition, thus meeting the net zero gas emission targets by 2050. The scheme also sets goals for energy savings of about 8 to 10% by 2030 and approximately 15 to 20% by 2050 compared to the normal development scenario.
Strong disbursement of public investment, especially from the second quarter of this year, has helped increase demand and promote growth of economic sectors.
In the second quarter of this year, Vietnam posted an economic growth rate of 4.14%, higher than the 3.28% recorded in the first quarter of this year. The results showed the efficiency of policies and measures put forth by the government and Prime Minister. In the second quarter, over 140 trillion Vietnam dong, or $5.93 billion, of public investment was disbursed, completing nearly 20% of the annual plan. The total disbursement in the first half of this year was estimated at over 230 trillion Vietnam dong, up 20.5% year-on-year. Notably, many projects in the socio-economic recovery and development program have had their investment procedure completed. This will make the disbursement of public investment capital this year faster than previous years.
Tết Quốc Than 10 minutes of BPTV News. To watch the news again, you can download BPTV Go or visit our website and YouTube channel. Thanks for staying with us and see you next time.